Sculpting Game Store Retail about Retail Science Chapter 2. This is video 2. We talked about our decompression zone, and I am just past the decompression zone, and now we're going to talk about the view from the door. Because your decompression zone is not it for capturing that initial wonder with a customer. First impressions, they'll shape whether a customer feels invited or lost. And it is important to have good visual cues for them, but Retail Science says you should have good sight lines. You should have bright displays. You want something that communicates fun and community. So our sight line here, if you're an interested gamer and you walk past that dice tower in the decompression zone, you can actually see all the way back and you see tables and chairs. Now you only see, half of a table set and you see one set of chairs. So you don't actively see people playing there. And actually most of our groups, we try to move them a little more to the side so that we can use that for processing or whatnot. But in that zone, you can know that this game store is going to have events. And in fact, up here, where this is our counter is, so our sight line when you walk in is going to include a staff member. We do have a hospitality greeting scale. I've got like a 4-page document we use in training all the time. But we also got this calendar up here that'll show our events. So if you walk in and get past the decompression zone, not only can you see the calendar, not only can you see our branding, but in the clear spotlight, you can have a visual all the way back that says, yes, indeed, there are tables here. This is a community area. People will gather here. But you might also notice that there's a lot of retail in front of it. So one of the visual signals we want to get is you don't have to be a table gamer to enjoy Mind Sculpt games, and that actually probably 80% of the store is going to be dedicated to people finding the right things for the right experiences for them, maybe at home on their tables, maybe with their kids, maybe a gift for their grandkid who's visiting from Arizona. We want a store that is welcoming, inviting, and it's going to attract the gamer who walks in, spots the dice tower right away, walks in, sees the tables right away, and they say, I'm home. But also for the first time person who is wondering, not necessarily knowing what to look for at Mind Sculpt Games in Great Bend, that they come in, they see a well-lit store, they hear music that is family friendly but trendy, maybe has a little bit of, every once in a while there's a sci-fi related musical score, but things that will cue in people's familiarity, their comfort, and their curiosity, with the air conditioner being comfortable, with the lights being well lit, with the carpet being cleaned on a regular routine. We use Roborock, so we've got 2 vacuum robots that clean the front end of the store and the back end of the store. So we try to always look pretty clean. There's repair days, right? But what we want when people walk in is we want an inviting area. We want them to be able to decompress and think, but you know what? My favorite reaction is when someone walks in for the first time and they think so fast about it that they say, whoa, before they're off the rugs where they can wipe their feet. That is what builds Mind Sculpt Games beyond the numbers. We're not necessarily trying to make the most money we ever could running Mind Sculpt Games in our hometown of Great Bend with a population a little less than 15,000. We're trying to live a good life, have a good family life. And when people walk in through our decompression zone and they feel an instant sense of, wow, this is pretty unique, that is something that fills us up in the intangibles, so that long-term this business. So I love Great Bend, that I love my community. I love being in my store. I love working with people. I love doing the retail science to build a decompression zone when nobody's here and nobody appreciates it, so that I can sit at the counter and just occasionally, every 3 days, somebody walks in for the first time and they let out an audible, whoa, and that's pretty cool. So when that happens in the decompression zone, when that happens in the decompression zone and they walk in, we've won, and we're on the path to creating a customer base that feels loyal to us, that enjoys the experience, that thinks of walking into Mind Sculpt Games as an event in itself. And the view from the front door is important to continuing that, because people don't buy things in the compression zone, right? So you walk in the front door and you see the clear sight line that'll show the table in the back. You see Over here, you've got clear sight lines. And you might notice that our racking on the puzzles, it shows a lot of front-face product. We don't always use the space to show a lot of front-face product because it means you can fit less. But in our decompression zone, right past it, in that view from the front door, if you look down here, you're like, hey, I kind of recognize those fixtures from Hastings, and I wish Hastings was still around here. That was cool. But you see those puzzles, and you're like, huh, that's nice. They've got a selection of puzzles for little kids. They've got these sports cards right here. And wow, I don't think I've ever seen that many rookies, stars, insert serial numbered cards, patches. There are tons. I think we have 50 rows of sports cards up here. And that view from the front door, when you get past the decompression zone, is really important to us. This is one of our nicest fixtures. We use the Douglas toy line model, we use the Douglas plushie out of our toy line to make sure that we've got attractive things that are family friendly and that, you know, the kid impulse things or a gift a husband can get for a wife, you know, every third time he comes to the game store so he can keep the wife happy. This fixture, it comes with $5,000 of spend in Douglas, which it's pretty hard to get to. That's going to take a lot of space, but this fixture with the waterfall effect, it's eye-catching. So whether or not the dollar per square foot rate of this particular fixture might be one of the strongest in the store, it's going to orient our customer, feel good, build up the class and reputation of Mind Sculpt Games. And it's actually, if you look at the angular nature of it, it's pretty good at helping our sight lines, because here you've got this aisle, right? And then you've got this angular look. So if you look right here at this, you've got a sight line that now takes you up towards our signs. And it's kind of hard to show you guys the signs in here, but if you look up here, we've got a sign that points you to the Lego section with an iconic graphic. There's Sylveon up there, so the Pokemon fans feel pretty oriented. And then we've got signage that can point you to classic games, kids games, strategy games, puzzles. The view from our front door, because of our signage up high, which you can see from pretty much any angle in the store when you actually walk in, it creates a map for the customer. So again, our casual customers, our non-heavy gamers, the people that haven't played Magic for 4 years or have a whole painted Warhammer army or have collected Pokemon since they got their first pack in 2004 as a kid, we want those customers to feel like, well, if I want a gift, I might try those. I might go to chess or classic games, or I might look in the brain game section and see if I can find something that helps me feel comfortable with something I could give as a gift. So we have our decompression zone, and then we have our view from the front door. And in retail science, first impressions are going to shape whether that customer feels invited or lost. Our roadmap of signs that hang from our ceiling, they help create a pattern in the visual angles. We make sure we have an angle that includes our tables, has a visual reference of our counter that'll come with a friendly greeting. Or if you need, if you look like the generation or type of person that just wants to go to the store and you walk real fast to where you're going, we know that we can respect that and leave it alone, and we'll talk more about customer greetings later. But some people want their own space in the game store, and some people want a shared space in the game store. And sometimes our job is to make sure that part of the view from the door is a smiling face at the counter, or a staff member that looks helpful, knowledgeable, knows the layout of the land, that can turn the signs into a map that leads to a successful purchase that you feel good about without maybe it taking 45 minutes. So we want our store to communicate bright lights, clear sight lines, clean floor, strong AC, nice music, fun, community, efficient gift finding. The first sight in a card store should not be a mass of card boxes or folding chairs. We want to make sure our newcomers see our retail space first and our play space second, but they will get the visual of the play space from the door. It's just not obnoxious. It's not overwhelming. You're not going to think, there's so many people here, I don't play this game, do I belong here? Instead, you're going to feel, okay, I can browse these plushies and be near the retail customer experience game advisor who works up front, but not be overwhelmed by the 13 people playing at the tables. There's some separation there that allows the retail customer to feel comfortable and not part of an event they didn't plan on going to, where they might want to leave earlier. So our climate, I'm going to just give you this view from the door up here. So when you walk in, we do have these books here to try to prevent people walking straight from that aisle and out the door without a last greeting from the retail counter. And that is a little bit of a theft prevention thing. But when you walk in here, you can see those signs up top. They're all red. That matches our color scheme. They're also eye-catching. You can see things that orient you familiarly. You can see that we have clear sight lines through the aisles that will help you see other rows. We've got this big sight line. You know, a lot of people walk in and ask if we have a public restroom, and we say, yeah, by the Dragon Head. And they take that clear sight line and they know where to go, and then they're getting past a lot of our store. So this is our visual clear sight lines. We want them to be welcomed with our decompression zone, and then we want the map to start being created by our view from the door.